Hello, my name is Andrew Album, and I would like to welcome you to this very special webinar where we're going to be covering unique opportunities for Australian clients to secure their retirements in Israel with Pioneer Wealth. I'm a senior wealth manager at Pioneer Wealth here in Israel, also a qualified advisor in the UK with 30 years experience, and I'm a member of the Australian Institute of Chartered Accountants. Today's seminar aims to really deal with the challenge facing all Olim from Australia, which has been the precipitous decline in the value of the Australian dollar against the shekel over the last 10 years. As many Australian Olim know, over the last decade, the Aussie dollar has lost 40% of its value against the shekel. This represents a really severe decline in the standard of living that Australians in Israel have been able to enjoy if their income and assets have remained in Australian dollars. A 40% decline in what they can afford to buy, a 40% decline in the value of their assets. That's a really significant financial hit for many people. Of course, it's not actually just Australians who've experienced this, because over the last 10 years, the Israeli shekel is the only major currency in the world that has risen in value against the US dollar. Every other major currency has experienced a decline in value, including the euro, the Swiss franc, the British pound, the Australian and New Zealand dollars. Experts tell us there are 4 key reasons for the strength of Israel's currency. The first has been Startup Nation, the phenomenal explosive growth of Israel's technology sector. This has sucked in billions and billions of dollars of investment from overseas, from big blue chip multinationals, from venture capital and private equity funds, and seen a huge surge in demand for the product and services delivered by these tech businesses. There's no countervailing flow of money going in the other direction from Israel out of the country and elsewhere. And this means that what we've seen over the last decade and more has been a huge demand from foreigners to buy Israeli shekel, to invest in startup and tech businesses here, and to buy their products and services, but without a countervailing demand from sellers of shekel who are looking to buy dollars, euros, and such like. So this first factor has been a major driver behind the strength of the shekel. The second has been as a result of the considerable growth in the Israeli economy and the increase in living standards. GDP per head in Israel has gone up sharply over the last 10 to 15 years. Wages have gone up sharply too. And in Israel, there's a well-developed system for enforced saving by employees and workers into pension, savings and provident funds. A lot of this money is invested in markets and assets overseas. And under Israeli law, the Israeli institutions must hedge all of their non-Israeli assets back into shekel to protect Israeli investors from currency risk. The result, again, has been an enormous one-way trade of Israeli institutions selling dollars and euros and buying shekel in exchange to hedge their book, without a countervailing flow of foreign institutions doing exactly the opposite. As wages are predicted to continue to go up in Israel and savings into these funds will continue to increase, this means an ever greater demand for shekel, thus pushing up the value of the Israeli currency. The third has been the seismic change in Israel's energy market. A decade ago, Israel was almost entirely dependent on imported energy, primarily oil, coal, and gas. But the discovery of gas fields in the Mediterranean Sea close to the Israeli coastline and the phenomenal growth of the local renewable energy market means that Israel is now actually a net exporter of energy rather than a net importer. Again, this has had a huge impact on the dynamics of the foreign currency market. And again, it's led to a huge fall in demand for the selling of shekels and the buying of dollars, because Israel used to have to do that to import all its energy. And this is a trend that's expected to continue as Israel continues to wean itself off old-style fossil fuels and grow its renewable energy and gas sectors. And the fourth factor behind the shekel strength is that Israel has consistently been one of the world's strongest economies. Higher rates of growth than almost every other major market, lower rates of unemployment and inflation than almost every other major market. Currently, Israel's inflation is at about 5%, which is about half the level in many other developed countries. Israel's government budgetary position is also the envy of most governments around the world. This has attracted many foreign investors who want to have a piece of the Israeli economy, the Israeli market, and the opportunities that it offers. Again, selling of dollars and euros, buying of shekel, pushing up the value of the shekel's exchange rate. For investors who've made aliyah and previously lived overseas, foreign currency and exchange rates usually just weren't an issue that people had to think about. You earned in Australian dollars, your assets were in Aussie dollars, your expenditure was in Aussie dollars, and exchange rates were only an issue if you went on holiday overseas and noticed perhaps that your dollar was worth more or less than the previous time you went to that country a number of years before. But once you've made aliyah and you're living in Israel, the shekel becomes the most important currency because it's the currency your liabilities are going to be in. It's the liability that almost all your expenditure is going to be in. And over the years, I've met many investors who consider themselves cautious and prudent, but have failed to recognize that if they have a mismatch between their assets and their liabilities, because their assets are in Aussie dollars and their expenditure is in shekel, they're creating a significant new risk which can severely impact upon their financial security and their peace of mind. The solution, of course, is to reduce or eliminate that risk by thinking very hard about which currency your assets and your income are denominated in. For the last 30 years, as one of Israel's leading independent wealth managers, Pioneer Wealth has established itself as one of the leading players in the market in Israel. A commitment to providing service, English language as our language of all communication, and considerable expertise in managing investment portfolios. We've managed portfolios for many, many years for a number of clients who've made aliyah from all around the world and have been attracted by our culture, our ethos, and our ethics. But for those with superannuation funds, there's been a real problem because Australians who make aliyah with a big Superfund have really been faced with a stark choice. The first option is to retain their Superfund as it is, to enjoy the tax benefits that offers, but expose themselves to considerable currency risks, which can undermine their peace of mind and their financial security in Israel. Or alternatively, to eliminate the currency risks by cashing their plans in to invest in shekel assets, where the returns, of course, are then subject to taxation. So we've been working very hard to develop a solution that would allow superannuation investors to benefit from shekel investments whilst retaining all the tax advantages of their superannuation fund. And the solution with Julius Baer, one of Switzerland's leading banks, are actively managed certificates, which share many features and characteristics of investment funds, which are designed for super investors. To be very, very clear, your money remains in your superannuation fund. It continues to enjoy all the tax advantages of super. All we're looking to do is to provide a suitable investment that eliminates all currency risks by investing in shekel. We've launched two actively managed certificates. The first, invest in a diversified portfolio of bonds, fixed interest securities, both government and company. We're including Israeli government bonds linked to inflation to give investors protection from rising prices, corporate bonds both funds and individual bonds issued by Israeli companies, and index-linked bonds to provide further inflation protection, plus some exposure to specialist global bond funds where all the returns are hedged back into shekel to completely eliminate the currency risk. This will be an actively managed portfolio, so the amount invested in each of these subsectors will vary, increase and decrease within the limits that are shown on the screen, which means that we will be actively managing them to take advantage of opportunities and to correctly position the portfolio to take account of the background of economic situation, interest rates and inflation. The second certificate will invest wholly in equities, both Israeli equities, individual and funds, global equity funds and specialist funds around the world. Again, everything is hedged back into shekel. And again, the allocations will be actively managed to maximize the potential. So there are two solutions which allows each investor to decide what the suitable level of risk they want to take is and what their asset allocation should therefore be. So you could invest in 100% just in the bond certificate, or solely just in the equity certificate, or come up with any split between the two, 30-70, 50-50, 60-40, and have the flexibility to change the allocation over time as your attitude to risk may change. Again, I can't stress too much. You're keeping your money within your Superfund. These are certificates held and owned by your Superfund, so they continue to enjoy all of the tax advantages that Super offers. The actively managed certificates, as I've said earlier, are provided by Julius Baer. The certificates have a number of features. Firstly, there's no minimum investment period because there is daily liquidity offered. That means you can buy or sell any day. The portfolios are valued on a daily basis, so you know you're getting in or out at a fair price. And subscriptions or redemptions are even accepted during the trading day. There are no initial advice fees or exit fees. Crucially, the certificates come with a globally recognized international identification number known as an ISIN, which means they can be bought from virtually any custodian bank. And investors will be provided with tailor-made performance reports in English to keep you updated on what the portfolio is invested in and how it's been performing. Julius Baer is one of the world's leading financial institutions. Founded in 1890, based in Switzerland and headquartered in Zurich, it's one of the largest 3 banks in Switzerland. It has assets under management in excess of a huge 400 billion Swiss francs, with a network of offices that span more than 50 locations in over 20 countries. Dealing with such a large, solid, well-funded institution gives every investor in these certificates complete peace of mind about the investments that they are taking out. If you want to learn more, then please be in touch. We've got material available that explains how you can invest in these superannuation funds, which explains how they operate, the certificates, both the bond and the equities. And I'm available if you have specific questions. Feel free to email me at the address on the screen, andrew@payawealth.com, or send me a WhatsApp on my Israeli number, which will be +972 if you're still based in Australia, 546559261, or you can contact us via our website, www.payawealth.com. I've noticed far too many investors who've come and made Aliyah to Israel, who've left their assets behind because it's in an investment they're familiar with, it's a structure they're familiar with, it's a language they're familiar with, and the price they've paid has been considerable. British investors who've seen the pound lose 55% of its value. Australian investors like yourselves who've seen the Aussie dollar fall by 40% against the shekel. This is a unique opportunity to protect your wealth, enhance your financial security, and get peace of mind in Israel for the rest of your life by investing your super assets in shekel portfolios that will be actively and professionally managed for you. I hope you've enjoyed this webinar. If you have any questions, please email me on the email address on the screen or send me a WhatsApp. I look forward to hearing from you.